Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I'm George. We're all George. So good morning. Welcome to another market open stream. We have about 5 minutes before the market bell rings, but we already received that big CPI data, which shows inflation is still far too high and is slowing down in terms of coming down. So that's not a good thing. Bitcoin and markets are reacting. Let's take a look what upset this current inflation read and what to expect for the remainder of the day and this week. So welcome, guys. Good morning. Hopefully you guys are doing good. Take a look. Inflation rose 0.5% in January, more than expected, up 6.4% from a year ago. Now, if you're looking at just that headline, it does seem like it's quite bad. But here's the thing. Compared to our high, which was back in June of 2022, inflation CPI was reading at 9. So we have been coming down from 9%. Now, core inflation, unfortunately, has not gone down that much. Core inflation back in June was 5.9%. And now we're only at 5.6%. So core inflation, actually, we only went down about 0.3% since June. But overall, CPI headline inflation has been coming down from 9% down to 6.4%, which is pretty good overall if you think about it. But still, 6.4% is still far too high. Now, why the markets are reacting and kind of iffy right now, not knowing which direction to move, is because investors and Wall Street, they're trying to adjust if this is a good thing or not, because last month, I know it's hard to see, but I'm moving up a little bit here. Last month, overall CPI was 6.5%, okay? So we went from 6.5% down to 6.4%, which means we still went down month to month 0.1%. And as for core inflation, we went from 5.7% down to 5.6%. So overall, both core and headline inflation both went down by 0.1%. So it does show inflation is slowing down still. But it also showed that the inflation rate, the decline has also slowed down. Because prior months, we were seeing like 0.5%, 0.7% in terms of declines. But now we're only seeing 0.1%. So does that mean, all the major decline of basically all the major effects of what Powell has been doing is now over, and now inflation is going to stay up here? And if so, what does that mean? That means it's going to cause, we know, Fed Chair Powell to stay hawkish and stay on course to raise the rates even more. And overall, the markets, of course, do not want that to happen. And if it does happen, it's not going to be good overall, right? We had several months now where inflation showed, we were heading in the right direction, which is lower, but now we're kind of coming to a halt, coming to a stop, and that's no good. So bringing up all the categories, all the sectors that was measured, what stood out the most? Well, this right here stood out a lot. I'm highlighting it here. There's a lot to see, but energy services, the biggest one is utility piped gas service, went up 6.7%. It's a huge rise. I don't know why piped gas service, I'm assuming like natural gas, went up almost 7% in January. And there's the market bell. Best bell in the industry. So overall, that brought up energy services up quite a bit. Also, energy went up. Gasoline went up about 2.4% after falling 7% in December. So look at that. We fell 7% and then went up 2.4%. So obviously, that brought the energy sector up a little bit. Food is still on the rise. A lot of you guys know, like, things like eggs are still very expensive. And then new car sales, used car sales, commodities overall went up, and shelter also went up. So shelter right here, 0.7%. Transportation services went up 0.9%. So I think the biggest thing is energy with gas service, and then energy itself, meaning like fuel and gasoline went up. But then, if you look at everything pretty much went up. We didn't see any significant declines really. Used car prices went down 1.9%. Okay. Fuel. Okay, so fuel went down 1.2%, not counting gasoline, which is strange. Like motor oil, I don't know what that's measuring. Gasoline went up, but fuel went down. I don't know, diesel maybe. No, that should be. I don't know if that counts under gasoline, but I mean, basically January showed everything went up, and that's not good. That's not good overall. This is what JP Morgan is predicting, and are they right? So they're predicting that today there was a 65% chance the CPI reading will come in between 6 to 6.3, which would have been in line with expectation. Expectation was supposed to be at 6.3%. And if that happened, they predicted that S&P 500 would go up about 1.5 to 2%. But we didn't hit that. We're at 6.4. So now they're predicting, and there's only a 25% probability. Now they're predicting S&P will go down from 0.75 to 1.5. Luckily, we didn't get above 6.5, and we didn't go below 6. So let's see if they're right. DXY also not knowing how to react. See, this morning, Wall Street doesn't know quite what to think. Just look at what happened there. DXY shot up and then went down, right after the reading came out. Then it started going up and down, and now it's higher than where it started. So that's not good. When the DXY starts going up, that means markets are going to fall, right? And right now you could see this didn't update, but I'm pretty sure the market is in the red right now. And Bitcoin is not reacting very positively either. So overall, I think people are a little bit more worried, a little bit more bearish, because with the slowing of inflation, that means Powell can't slow down his rate hikes because, it doesn't support it. The data doesn't support it, right? He did say in March he's going to reevaluate things, whether or not he really needs to get the fund rate up to 5%, or he could slow it down, or what the next rate would be, right? The next rate hike in March. Will there be one afterwards? He said it's all going to be evaluated then, right? But this is no good. The good thing is we will get one more CPI read, I believe, next month before the FOMC meeting. So we'll get another one of these, and if that one shows, February went down majorly, that will still smooth things out for Powell. But if the next one shows that inflation absolutely did not move at all, or even increased from January, that would be absolutely disastrous right before the FOMC meeting. So I guess we'll see. But that's today. You know what? This is not a horrible reading. It's not a good reading. It's kind of a neutral reading, right? So today it could still flip. It could still flip either way. But right now, I think Wall Street's being more cautious. They're trying to sell off a little bit in preparation of what's to come. But we could definitely flip to the upside, because today's reading still shows that inflation went down. It just didn't go down as much as expected. All right. Now, besides the inflation read, what else is happening? Well, as for Bitcoin, yesterday was one of the biggest withdrawal dates so far. $130 million worth of Bitcoin, and approximately 6,000 Bitcoin removed from the exchanges just a day before the CPI announcement. I wonder why. Well, maybe there is no reason other than people deciding to self-custody their own crypto, right? Recently, we had a lot of FUD about staking, now FUD about stablecoins. Maybe people just want to self-custody their own Bitcoin. That could be a good reason for it. But overall, if we've been tracking all the Bitcoins on the exchanges, well, I mean, the reserves have been getting smaller, right, across all exchanges. And there's more and more being withdrawn every single day, pretty much every single day. So overall, what does this mean? There's going to be a supply crunch in the future. That's what it means. There's going to be more demand than supply, and then you know what happens after that. But that's quite a lot yesterday. Also, percent of supply last active 1 year ago, we're approximately at 67%, and this number continues to go higher and higher and higher and higher and higher, right? Part of this is because so many people are withdrawing their Bitcoin. And when you withdraw it from the exchanges and it's sitting in your own self-custody wallet, well, that means you're not going to trade it. That means it's just sitting there. So the holders continue to DCA and HODL even more. And that is why the percent supply last active 1 year, and then you go 2 years and 5 years, 10 years, they're all sky high at all-time high levels right now. So supply crunch is coming. Here's a prediction of where Bitcoin is going, right? I guess a lot of charters are looking at previous support levels, previous ranges, right? We're definitely in that range under or between 24,000 and about 18,000-ish, right? But 24,000, we were not able to break it a couple times. Once back in around August, September timeframe of 2022, one recently, right? But it's just a matter of time. We retest it and break it and continue higher. And of course, this is looking at a bigger scale, a macro scale of Bitcoin, going back to 2015, 2019 versus now, right? We have formed a golden cross. And also, this one talks about this black semicircle underneath. Right, basically, like, instead of a V-shaped recovery, we're talking about a U-shaped recovery. And when you're buying into U-shaped recovery, leads to good things. All right, outside of these things, what else is there? Some people have asked about ordinals, and you know this is causing some controversy. So. This is a collection of NFTs that's stored within sats, stored within the Bitcoin ledger, right? And a lot of Bitcoin maxis do not like this because they don't want the ledger to be filled with pictures and text and NFTs. And it's going to take up a lot of space. It's going to cause congestion, right? But then there are others that feel like this is good. This is going to bring more attention to Bitcoin. This is bringing another use case, I guess, for Bitcoin, being outside a store of value, a medium transfer, but also a chain that can store data. In this case, NFTs, right? There's a big debate between like several parties. But anyways, it does seem like this project is gaining a lot of momentum, and there's more and more being minted. But right now, the thing is, there's no wallet that actually supports it. I guess you can't really see it in any of the wallets, and it's really hard to trade. So, you know, there's things that still need to be worked out. But overall, this is why, you know, creating NFTs on Polygon or Ethereum is much easier and more user-friendly because all the dApps and everything has been made already for this, and it's still being created on Bitcoin. So, it's just something interesting to think about. As for some regulation stuff, well, we know that SEC has been targeting everyone recently, you know, staking with Kraken and then BUSD with Paxos, right? Now, it seems like they want to target custodians. We hear about this term a lot. Some of the big boys, banks, they all act as crypto custodians. Coinbase also is a custodian. Gemini is a custodian. Fidelity is a custodian. And there's several banks that are custodians. So now the SEC wants to target them and want to come out with, I don't know what kind of regulations that will regulate these custodians, right? I mean, this is what I'm saying. Like, Gary seems like he has dedicated 100% of his time to crypto only. Like, I don't hear about Gary regulating anything outside of crypto, and now he's trying to tackle everything all at once in 2023. You know, I don't know exactly what's going on. Again, this could be a result of him being very embarrassed and being called out about the FTX situation, and now he has to like prove himself, and now he's just going to target everything, right? That's what it seems like. There's just too much targeting within such a short amount of time. But that's what's happening right now. That's what's happening. But Paxos, they said that they will fight the SEC back. They disagree that BUSD is a security. How could it be a security when it's a stable coin? It doesn't make any sense, right? So Paxos did say that they will fight SEC with litigation if needed to prove that it is not a security. And they didn't say they were going to discontinue it. They just said they won't mint it, but they will continue to support it and redemption of it. And Binance says they will still continue to support BUSD as long as it's around. I mean, there's still $17 billion worth of it, right? But yeah, we need some of these guys to like really push back on SEC. Coinbase recently said they will fight SEC about staking because how could staking also be a security? I mean, everything's deemed a security, but it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. It doesn't even pass their own Howey test. It doesn't even fit in there, right? But I'm glad to see some of these guys are preparing to fight, and we do need more people to fight against the SEC at this point. What else is there? Speaking of stable coins, Curve, which is one of the biggest stablecoin dexes, one of the biggest dexes out there, they are preparing to come out with their own stablecoin, and right now they are seeing a big influx of BUSD being exchanged for like Tether and USDC, but they are getting ready for their own stablecoin, which is algorithmic collateral-backed stablecoin, right? So it's not complete algorithmic, but it's not backed by USD. It's kind of like both, I believe. I may be wrong on that, but that's what I remember. But yeah. So there's that, and then lastly, in case you're wondering about SBF, CFTC and SEC, they will hold their cases back until the criminal case against SBF has been settled, and that won't be settled until sometime in October, right? So he's still sitting. He got about 8 months before he faces criminal charges, and then civil charges means nothing if he's going to jail for like 150 years, right? All right, that is pretty much it. Let's see the market. Yeah, it's still red. Wall Street investors do not like that. As for Bitcoin, Bitcoin's not moving. It fell down a little bit. Now it's coming back up. It's about even as yesterday. So, you know what? When we have high inflation, Bitcoin should be going up. In the future, that's what's going to happen. Bitcoin is a store of value. It's a hedge against inflation. It's going to replace gold as a better version of it, a digital gold, right? And generally speaking, people buy gold and store values, a hedge against inflation when there is high inflation and market disruptions and market turmoil, right? And we will get there someday. Not right now. We're still too coupled with the rest of the U.S. market, but in the future, it won't be. All right, let's do some Q&A. Oligos, thoughts on Sai and Sidecoin? Neutral, decentralized storage. Not much to talk about with them. Someone said it's all fake numbers. Well, it's It's kind of true when it could be adjusted any time. Yesterday, right before today's reading, all the previous months were adjusted. I don't even know how that's possible, how you could adjust like 3, 4, 5 months ago, but all the numbers were. So yeah, if they could be adjusted on the fly like that, then, can we really trust these numbers? Joseus, appreciate it. Eggs are cheap in Ohio. Egg prices have been coming down. They're not as high as before. Someone says, me, Kevin, doesn't like Brian Armstrong's response to the SEC. Interesting take to take a look at later. Well, that sounds interesting. I'll take a look at that. I wanted DCA, but I don't know what to expect in the next days. Is it better to wait? Pan, that's what you're not supposed to do. You're not supposed to wait. You're not supposed to guess. Okay? Because you don't know. Either way, you're going to screw yourself. You don't DCA today and it starts going up the next 2 days, you're going to regret it, right? And then if you don't DCA today, you think it's going to go down the next few days. Let's say it does. And guess what? You're probably going to be waiting for another 2 days thinking that it's going to go down more, and then you skip it, right? It's like there's too much guessing. That's the whole point of DCA. Set a schedule yourself. Do it every 2 weeks, every month, or every week, every day, whatever schedule that fits you. And just stick with it. Don't try to guess. Trust me. Too many people try to do that. I have tried that before many, many times. When you try to outsmart the market, 90% of the time you lose. George, go to the store and look. Inflation is everywhere. I mean, okay. I was going to say something. Yeah, I decided to hold my tongue. I was going to say something back at you. Yes, inflation is everywhere, right? Of course it is. And it's affecting millions of people in the U.S. and billions of people worldwide. Inflation is not just a U.S. thing. It's across the world. People see it, right? And inflation is a silent tax. No one wants a silent tax. Everyone hates taxes already. But inflation is worse. It's a silent tax that you can't even do anything about. You can't have deductions. It's just robbing you of your buying power slowly every single year, and it has accelerated the last few years. That's why you need to invest in things that can outperform inflation. That's quite simply it. Doesn't staking act more like a commodity? It's like giving a power plant electricity to help it run and create more electricity. You know what? That's actually a really good analogy. Yes. Yes. You are right about that. That's a good analogy right there. Oh, look at this. Look at this. People are realizing, well, when inflation's bad, I should be buying Bitcoin. Nice. We're going to be pushing 22 again soon. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Look at this. Come on, 22. So close. Sorry guys, my buy order just executed. I didn't mean to pump Bitcoin like that. Just took 50K from my S&P holdings and swapped into Bitcoin, BTC to the moon. Well, You know what? I can't tell you if that's a good move or not, but I will say I like Bitcoin. I like Bitcoin a lot more than anything in the S&P 500 right now. And look at that. We're right back up to 22,000. Yeah, I told you guys. Today's inflation reading isn't all that bad. Wall Street may want you to think that way, but inflation overall still went down. So the whole market could be turning. And now Bitcoin is up 1.2%. The entire market cap will be going up soon. What's your take on Gala games, and what's your prediction on next bull run? Jimmy, didn't you ask this before? I've seen you in here. I like Gala games. I think that in terms of gaming platform, they're the biggest in the crypto space, and I think they have a lot of potential. As for prediction for next bull run, are you asking for prediction on Gala or in general? If you're talking about Gala, I mean, it has to go up like 8-9x just to get back to its previous high. So, can it get there and break above it? Yes, for sure. The next bull run will be unlike any other bull runs we have experienced. There's going to be so much money, way more money than before because of all the institutional adoption and because you have like BlackRock and Fidelity and all these big guys really jumping into the space. And plus, the way the on-ramp system has grown tremendously. Okay, you know, there's more ways now for someone to buy Bitcoin than ever before in history, right? So the FOMO that will follow the institutional buying will be unlike anything we have ever seen. I mean, it will make 2021 seems like child's play. Do you concur with Raoul Paul that ETH is the money of the internet? No, it's way too early to make that call. No. It has nothing to do with the internet. If you can make the argument ETH is the money of DeFi or dApps, like in the decentralized crypto space, yes, because it's the biggest, most widely used, most TVLs in ETH, right? But of the internet, no. And ETH wasn't created to be the money of the internet either. Let's see, make sure I didn't miss anything. Is there a way to get Ledger Live to refresh faster and more in real time? Not that I know of. If you want to watch real-time data, just bring up TradingView like me. I mean, don't rely on Ledger Live for that. Just pull up TradingView, and then you could see it in real time. History doesn't repeat, but it tends to rhyme. That is correct, my friend. Will I be a judge on killer whales? No, because I'm going to be a judge on the next crypto gem. And there's a lot of exciting projects that have submitted to be a contestant. And overall, there's a lot of star power, a lot of production power. I think it's going to be a great show. NASDAQ is in the green. $22.1. Look at that. What software do you use to view your live charts? Just TradingView. TradingView. I have a few few indicators. Oh man, look at that. Look at that green. Let's bring this one right here. According to Lux Algo, this right here was a strong buy. Right here. And I guess it was right. That's on a smaller time frame. On a 15-minute time frame, Lux Algo also says this is a strong buy right here. And you can see some of these other indicators, you know, stochastic bottoming out and crossing up, RSI bottoming out. You know, a lot of these are just basic stuff. On 1 hour, this was a strong buy according to Lux, and then RSI, stochastic, both heading upwards. What do you think about helium now? I mean, I still think they're promising. You know, when they decide to move to Solana, caused a lot of controversy. They have to redo their whole token structure, but in the long run, it'll help them. Man, look at this. Bitcoin 22.2. Look at this. I promise it's not me. The George effect is happening, but yeah, it's not due to my buy order. But overall, I think in terms of the premise, in terms of creating, you know, low mesh Wi-Fi everywhere and 5G, and they have a partnership with Dish Network, I think they're in a good spot. Shane says, helium is disrupting $1 trillion industry. How many crypto projects are doing that? Well, the thing is, just because they're trying to doesn't mean they will succeed. I know people made the same point with Dent before, which is in trying to decentralize wireless phones and wireless networks, right? They're also in that space. They kind of died down. I don't know how many people use them, but you know, there's a few projects that are tackling big things. I'm not saying they won't get there, but you know, there's gonna be a lot of work ahead. They're not at that level yet where they could actually disrupt. It'll be crazy if this pumps right above 24. That's what we need. We need it to pump above 24, but we're nowhere close to that yet. But hey, it's a start. It's a start. Once we get above 24, then, you know, 30,000 is right around the corner. All right, in case any of you guys are tuning in now, just FYI, CPI data came out this morning, showing inflation overall is still very high, but the good news is, even with it being high, we still came down month to month from last month or from December to January, I should say. Core inflation went down by 0.1%. Headline inflation went down by 0.1%. The rate of decline is slowing for sure. That has some people concerned, but we are still going in the right direction. We are still going in the right direction. It's not a good reading. It's not a bad reading. All right. there may be at the beginning, Wall Street was making people think that was a bad reading because I think they were just unsure. They just decided to sell everything off. But it's not a good or bad reading. It's just a neutral reading. And DXY, you know, really doesn't know what. Yeah, DXY is all over the place. It shot down, went up, now it's coming back down again. DXY sometimes intraday movement is just kind of wild. But we do know Bitcoin is liking it. People are flocking to Bitcoin. People are recognizing when you have high inflation, elevated levels of inflation, who do you turn to? You turn to the best hedge against inflation we have today, and that's Bitcoin. AA, when Ferrari do you own, when reveal? I will reveal it soon, after a certain mark. I don't want to reveal it too early, and plus it's too cold to be driving. Although recently, where I'm living, we're hitting 50-something degrees. I've been anxious to actually take her out because I haven't driven her for like 3 months now. I know that sounds naughty, but you know, I'm talking about my car. But I'll do a review soon one of these days when it's good weather and when Bitcoin is much higher. Speaking of which, someone mentioned about short liquidations. Let's pull it up. Let's see. I mean, it's probably too early to detect because Bitcoin just started pumping. But let's say like the last 15 minutes. Oh yeah, look at that. Boom, right there. That's 23 million right there. That's 23 million liquidated within a matter of 15 minutes. And then you add a little bit. Yeah, you're talking about like 25 million right there. And that may increase. NP, my 150K short wreck. I really hope that you're kidding, that you didn't just lose $150,000. Did you see the news about Toyota trying to go all electric? They said that like last year, 2 years ago, and then they didn't do anything, and then they forced the CEO to resign. So I think whoever the new CEO is go push hard into EV because Toyota is really behind on EV. They shouldn't be. They should be the leaders of EV, considering they had hybrid technology like way before anyone else. Now what they're trying to do with their engines is trying to make more powerful hybrid engines, which sort of is working, but they're just missing out on the whole EV thing. EV transition, I should say. Are you still 50, 25, 25? I've deviated from that a little bit. I've always said that's just a general guide, especially for people that are new into the space, don't really know how to build a portfolio. I think that's a really good guide. Once you're a little bit more seasoned, of course, you could deviate from there. But I still do have a large amount of Bitcoin, a lot bigger allocation for big caps and some small caps. I would say if I had to like give a number, it would probably be more like 25, 75. Like that's kind of like what mine looks like right now. I like big caps. I like the L1s, L2s, the big caps. They make just a whole lot of sense to hold on to. They're a lot more stable now than ever before. Big caps didn't really mean anything in previous cycles before 2021. Back in 2017, when things started falling down, you know, the big caps fell 99%, all of them. Right now, a lot of them didn't fall that much, and they're recovering faster. So big caps definitely have a lot more stability now than before. Cheese, you taught me patience in DCA. I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear that. The British perspective, thank you. I appreciate that. That would be a great name for a YouTube channel. I don't know if you do have your own channel, but that's a great name. All right. Man, Bitcoin is still going up. Still heading higher. The overall market is turning, so that's good. Yeah, you know what? That's why sometimes you don't want to believe in all the doom and gloom people, the doom and gloom spreaders. Yesterday, you know, reports started coming out that the inflation numbers today were going to be horrible, right? And even when I was covering this morning, I'm like, okay, it's not good, but it's not bad either. It's kind of neutral, right? I did say, even just half hour ago, the market could swing into green today, even though we started out deep red, right? Now we're seeing the market swing to green. We're seeing Bitcoin come up significantly. And overall, today's starting out to be a pretty good day. We'll see if this continues. All right, so I'll see you guys tonight, 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, and have a good one and enjoy the George effect that's going on right now. Simon, I can't tell you that, and that's irrelevant to you. Just know that Gala is a great project. All right, take care, guys. Bye-bye.